live.
Welcome everyone. I'm Matt, this is Desiree. We're here on Monday, September 19th, 2016, and we had a lot of really great, really challenging questions. So we dove into each one just a little bit to touch upon it, get you some stuff to work on, and we're going to come back to a whole lot of stuff next week. So the first question we had was about the body roll and reviewing it. So, for starters, what you need when you're doing a body roll, you need a mirror, and you need flexibility. So, most of you probably have a mirror in your bathroom. You only really need upper body for the body roll. It's great if you have a floor-length mirror. It never hurts. For flexibility, it's very hard in general for people who've never moved their ribs to start moving their ribs. So we practice moving the ribs side to side. And again, we look in the mirror to make sure that I'm not moving them side to side, right? Because that's really my shoulders. I want to do just my ribs. I can use my hands to help. I can sit in a chair, hook my feet around the legs, keep my hips still, and then just move my ribs side to side. Whatever works for you.
I tend to like to poke through the middle between the rib cage and then see that my hand is moving backward and forward without my hips moving backward and forward. Whereas Matt likes to kind of take the outside of the rib cage and force that through as he builds flexibility. Either way is okay so long as you're not moving your shoulders or your hips instead of your ribs.
It doesn't need to be a huge movement, especially if it hurts, but the more you develop this and the more you practice it, the more flexible you will get. You can also go forwards and backwards. Go through this quickly. You can make a box, so forward, right, backwards, left. You can cut the corners off the box and make a circle. And while this does use my stomach muscles, there's a question whether I'm doing this with my stomach, right? I can do a roll with my stomach. I mostly just wanted to put this on the video for posterity. This is very different from when I roll with my ribs. You can all see that
always gonna roll with my
very clearly in contrast. So we moved into the body roll. For you that were more experienced and kind of had this down, we took this at an angle. If you were not, we did it just head on. Practice, pop the chest out, and then I want to have as small subunits as I possibly can as I go through this roll. Right? So if all I can do at first is chest, stomach, hips, then that's fine. I can practice doing that, and I can be as clunky as I want doing that. But I want to ultimately add fewer and fewer subunits. So I get top of my chest, middle, bottom, top of stomach, middle, bottom, top of hip, middle, bottom. And I can keep going, and the more subunits I add, the smoother the motion gets. And again, that's the same at an angle. We practice doing that in a basic push break. First, we did it with no footwork. Eventually, we will add in the footwork. We didn't do that today. So we stop on 4, 3, and 4. I kick my chest forward 5, and then I roll onto the foot, and 6. One more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Kick 5, roll 6. So we stopped there for now. We will revisit the body roll as kind of like a warm-up to each class for a long time. So everyone will have it. We then talked about stretch a little bit. The way we like to learn and teach this is through what's called tassel, which is a 4-step process: tension, anchor, stretch, and lead. In general, tension is established kind of on 4 and 5-ish. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I can be in tension, or we're getting to tension shortly.
Those hands again are equidistant between the partnership and stay that way throughout the entire tassel process.
We talked about anchor being the stable position that you come to at the end of each whole beat step. The whole beat step is 1 step per 1 beat of music, which happens on 1, 2, 4, and 6. So I'm having that stable moment on 1, 2, 4, and 6.
This is where I want you to move to a straight leg.
Yep. So we establish the tension, 3 and 4, anchor 5 and 6. We have 2 straight legs here. Then there's many, many, many different ways that people will talk about stretch. I personally like to think about settling into my hip as the knee releases, to move a little bit further away from my partner.
And I think about taking the hip as well as the shoulder blades back together, and always as a follower, wanting as much distance linearly as my leader will provide me.
Yep. So that's a stretch, and then the lead happens very naturally because we have so much stretch built up. We then talked about delayed ones. For followers first, it's pretty much just you stay in place. So the analogy I like to use is if the leader is asking if you want to go to the kitchen, you don't say no, you just think for a minute, and then you say, okay.
Okay.
So I say, okay, for 1 and 2. If I follow right now, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 4, 5, and 6. We talked to the leaders about how you want to be kind of always open to the situation. The easiest ways to do that are to not take giant steps, to not fall backwards, and to not pull with your arm, which none of us would do anyway, so everyone was prepared for this. We practiced that a bit, then we talked about adding in the leaders to lane 1, which we did as a sweep and 2. We said it was very, very important that leaders are slightly pitched forward as you do this, and that you make sure that you're taking that count too. And really not falling into it, as can tend to happen when you do this. Because if I fall into this, 1 and 2. That just pulls my follower forward too far, and I'm not pulsing the 2 anymore.
I made this look okay, but in reality I would have been somewhere here.
Yep. We also talked about how when the followers do the delayed 1, normally they don't really need to do anything because the leader is moving backwards. When the leader is doing the delayed 1 as well, the followers might need to move a little bit more backwards. And followers are not really just thinking about like trying to see if the leader's doing a ronde.
Just filling the space
Yeah,
back.
they're just filling the space. That's exactly what I said. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. If you were really ambitious, you could put all those things together. So you have the tension, you have the anchor, you body roll into the stretch, and you delay the 1 into the lead. What that looks like if we start from just a basic 1, 1, 2, 3, and 4, tension, 5 and 6, roll, 1 and 2. That was your class all put together for you overachievers that want to work on that. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much.